time I contacted the Manses, they never let me talk to Natalia for years. They won't let Natalia talk to my daughter. They won't pass on any messages. I'm communicating with Neil. I learned that actually it was Natalia who put him in touch with me. He was like desperate, trying to get in touch with anybody who will listen.
So this is the first episode. 2 episodes came out last night, and I believe another 2 more is coming out tonight as well. I will, in this video here, I'm covering episode number 1. Tomorrow, I will then do the upload for episode number 2, okay, and then so on and so on, all right? But let's talk about obviously what went down in the first episode. Now, as you can see so far here, we've got the depose. And it is quite interesting that when it comes to Natalia trying to have communication with the depose, she has to go through somebody else. You know, obviously, and this is Neil Nils from the UK and somebody who is allegedly her boyfriend, okay? And right now, she's obviously staying with the Mans. And it seems as if they are not necessarily the best of people. It seems as if they may be exploiting her. At least that is the perception that's going on right now. Now, the crazy thing about it is that they said that they didn't even expect to have another season of The Curious Case of Natalia. But once they released season 1 and season 2, a whole lot more of information came out, and this is why we are where we are right now. So let's continue with what's going on here and Natalia's current Curious Case.
If she says we have held her hostage, we're done. Yes. We're done with it.
And that call also showed an angry side of Antoine that we had never seen before.
I mean, to be honest with you, you know, if you adopt someone, and the crazy thing about the Mans is that they've adopted many kids, okay? And some people may say that it's because they've got a big heart, you know, they're trying to do something that's good here. You know, some people may say as if they're saving kids, but something doesn't sit right with me when it comes to the Mans. Okay, obviously people have their own opinions on Natalia, but the Mans right now, there's something definitely that isn't making sense. But also on top of that, when it comes to the depose, I'm a bit suspect about them too. But nonetheless, though, right now, obviously, you know, let's continue because it seems as if Antoine is definitely not showing himself in the best light possible, you know, with the way that he is talking.
He purposely selects his victims based on their disability. He takes control of their money by becoming what's called a payee.
The fact that they label him as somebody that, the fact that they say that he's somebody that picks victims is crazy work. Because they're not even labeling the kids that they take underneath, you know, is the thing, when you are in the foster system and whatnot, you will refer to the kids that you fostered as kids, right? But they have labeled these kids as victims. That is a very strong word there, okay? Very strong language. Which means that maybe what's going on here is a whole lot worse than what we know. You know, maybe they're just trying to bring to light the seriousness, the severity of this situation regarding the Mans. Maybe this is all about trying to expose them for everything. Because the thing that didn't really make sense to me is that they are obviously this show is based on Natalia, right? But if Natalia is being treated the way they say that she is being treated, shouldn't that then bring concern to the rest of the kids that are under this roof of the Mans? That's the other thing that I questioned. You see what I'm saying? But hey, let's continue though.
His job is to grow their flock.
Do you think Natalia is part of a cult?
Yes.
At least 3.
If that's the case, I wonder if the kids, if they're aware, they're probably not aware, but are some of them maybe aware that they are in a potential cult here? You know, there's so many questions that I have for this first episode.
$100,000. And I know for a fact that Cynthia and Antoine, without Natalia's money, could not have bought a house with cash.
So right now, it is very clear that when it comes to the financial benefit of Natalia seems to bring in the most money. 300K that was, and that is something that they used to buy a house. I mean, listen, if the records, if the paperwork is there to say that this is the case, well, then I guess there is no denying the situation, right? We can only sit here and say that, you know, these depots are definitely, not depots, sorry, these Mans are definitely profiting from Natalia. So therefore, why would they actually want to get rid of her in the house? Because clearly her having money is obviously a big benefit for themselves, you know, and this money seems as if they're using it for their own benefit rather than the benefits of Natalia, as well as even the other money for the kids as well. Okay, so things aren't looking good right now in terms of how things are being currently reported.
They always have bed bugs and cockroaches and everything climbing on the walls, food, maggots in the trash can and on the countertops.
So here's the thing that I don't understand here, right? We've got this guy coming out. He's talking about, obviously, the quality of living. So the question is, why is no one being sent around there to check these living conditions? You know, and this, like I said, there's so many questions here because these living conditions are conditions that you'd imagine that once this show is now aired, but even before the show aired, the people that are coming and speaking about these things, shouldn't they have sent someone around to obviously have a look at this house? I mean, you'd think they'll do it now exactly, you know, because bed bugs are no joke. All of these things, none of these things are any joke whatsoever. These things are grotesque livings for surroundings for kids.
To kick her out of the house. Then they wanted to put her up in her own apartment. It was shocking. Natalia's alleged boyfriend, Neil, from the UK, reached out to our producer. Natalia's in danger and she needs to get out of Demands' control. Police. But according to Neil, the police didn't do anything.
So this is quite interesting because that means obviously these events were happening while filming was on. So obviously Natalia would have obviously notified this Neil around, you know, regarding these producers. So obviously that means she would have started, you know, contacting Neil and during the time they were obviously filming for this current season here, which was back in 2003, I believe, is when they filmed it. That's the date they showed. Boy, this is a, you know, the crazy thing about it is, like I said before, this is a whole lot more bigger than just Natalia now at this point. There's a whole bunch of kids in the household. If Natalia is the one that needs to be saved because apparently she's the one that is under fire because of XYZ, well, then that means the kids do too, because they are just as much of a much of a victim as she may potentially be too. You know what I mean? But hey, considering it's only episode 1, things are early. Maybe other things will be answered in the following episodes. I know there's probably some people who've seen other episodes already. Please don't spoil it. Actually, you know what? It is what it is. If you got to say, you got to say. Then you know, I'm all for it. I'm still gonna watch the other episodes anyway, because obviously I want to report them for you folks. But anyway, we continue.
When Cynthia and Antoine discovered that Natalia had been communicating with Neil, her phone, they took her computer away from her and she was cut off. Doing this to somebody who's not a child. She is not a minor. She is an adult.
Okay. Well, we came to an understanding.
Well, I kind of changed her mind.
Turn senses on this situation. Okay, so we'll still see.
It's already been identified. The fact is, you know, this Natalia is a grown adult. 20 years of age at the time this was filmed. At least that's what they said in the show, okay? So back in 2003, she was 21, okay? Based on what they said here. And she's a full-grown adult, and you're telling me that they're in charge of being able to dictate whether or not a full-grown adult can leave the place that she's in or not, determine, obviously, her finances. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that aren't adding up here. You know, like, is Natalia that dumb to not recognize that she's at an age where these people don't have that much power over her, or don't have power in general? I'm not too sure how the system works in the States, but I'm pretty sure by the time you turn 18, you're free to do whatever the hell you want, and they don't have any liability to you. But I don't know. Let me know. You know, a lot of holes here.
For social media, Natalia doesn't have any access to the outside world. Natalia wants to leave, but she doesn't know how, and
imagine being 20 and getting all your devices taken away from you. Make that make sense. Make that make sense.
Said some things to this guy and trashed your parents. Seeing what my wife showed me. A lot of false accusations. He played the enemy role, that the parents were the enemy and she needed to get away from the parents. Really, you know, love you, they just want to control you. It went from the faith to, okay, now they just want your money, and if I want to leave the house, I want to be on my own. It felt like death, like literally.
See, the thing that I do wonder and I do question here is that he's saying that everything was said by Neil, and Neil was the one that was trying to drive her out of the house. But how would we not know that it wasn't Natalia saying these things to Neil? Because, you know, it's evident that she was definitely, you know, saying the most about them to this person. So how do we not know it was her saying that, hey, they're trying to control me, hey, it's them trying to do this and that? Because it seems to me as if the story, do I believe that Neil said all of these things and he was out there trying to, because bear in mind, for Neil to say these things, he would only have to say these things basically when Natalia would tell him, right? So who's to not say that Natalia just wasn't saying these things, but they're trying to now make it look like as if Natalia never said any of these things and it was him saying it to her based on something that she said to him. Do you see what I'm saying? Especially given what happens next.
Death.
He convinced Natalia that what he was saying was right and we were wrong.
Could we see those Facebook messages?
From the guy? Yeah. They're deleted.
The fact that the messages are deleted is why I question this. You know? And to be honest with you, the whole time, Natalia looked like, yeah, I mean, she looked like she was on a distress or whatever you want to call it, you know, like, as if they told her, this is what's going to happen, this is what we're going to say, and you just pretty much back us up. Do you know what I mean? So I wonder how that conversation went, but hey, ironically, those messages were freaking deleted, but despite the fact that it was deleted on her side, wouldn't Neil still have that evidence on his side? I'm just curious, you know what I mean? Because they've got texts from Neil. Well, they've got texts from Neil to the producers. So what about texts between Neil and Natalia from his side? But they just said that the Facebook page has been deleted, something particular. I don't know if that means it deletes all comments on both sides, but I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. But hey, like I said, so many freaking questions here. You know, what to believe, you know?
She doesn't even have Facebook no more. She deleted it.
But it wasn't right. Being honest, I wasn't thinking clearly. There is something I want every girl my age and younger, that especially at this age, you want to meet somebody, you want to be with somebody, but
she's where she was called to be.
But let's.
I'm not gonna lie to you, that was such a generic freaking response, like a corporate type response. Nah, man. Like, yo, what's going on here? I'm not believing none of these people. I'm not believing Natalya, and I'm not believing the mans in this point, to be honest with you. Something doesn't sit right. Nah. The amount of yo-yoing going on is crazy.
Week, you guys were all having trouble. You were all fighting, and then you asked me to move Natalya out into an apartment on her own.
We understand that she's what God called her to be.
yeah,
She's what
this
God
is where
called her
I'm
to be.
supposed to be.
You know what I really dislike? People who use like religion as a thing. Like, yo, the guy asks you a question. How did you guys go from one decision to another one so quick, 0 to 100? And this guy goes, well, she is where God wants her to be. Man, yeah, all right, okay. It sounds like bloody Cody Brown. So obviously, as you can see with these messages here from Cynthia to producers, I feel very disrespected. Bringing up the depose was wrong. After I specifically told him we were not putting our daughter to live with anyone else. So here's the thing: each time the depose were, obviously mentioned, yeah, both of them would shut it down. Antoine is simple to shut it down real quick. The question is, what issues do they have with the depose? Is it because the depose have a relationship with Natalya, and Natalya obviously has a strong bond with them, that she's afraid that they're the only ones that are going to maybe convince her to actually finally run away? Why are they behaving as if the depose are a threat? I mean, I'm not saying they're not, but why?
When the DePauls were offered as a solution for a place for Natalya to live, since it's a home modified for our little people too, but then Cynthia and Antoine shut it down quick.
Exactly. And as you can see here, Natalya to Neil, Mum talks about you on the dock. Won't let me go out. Won't let me go with you.
What this means to me is that Natalya was not completely brainwashed by the Manses after all. And so when Natalya was rebuking Neil and apologizing to Cynthia and Antoine, was she really being sincere, or was she just telling them something she thinks they want to hear?
You see, this is something that I sit and I question, because, and this is why I said what I said earlier on. What they are trying to tell us, is this the truth? Are they saying that this Neil guy is the one that was saying all these things to manipulate and convince Natalya, or was Natalya the one saying it to all of them? Do you see what I'm saying? Because the fact that she hasn't been manipulated, but she was more than happy to play, the couch and camera that was requested by the family, it tells me that there's more to it, on her side. Maybe she has got a plan to get out away from this family, okay? Because she still continues to text Neil anyway. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see how this develops, obviously, within the next, upcoming episodes.
God, I'm infuriated. Neil told me that, to make matters worse, they're exploiting her for her money. She has like...
I mean, listen, that's a good question, isn't it? About the whole, exploiting it for her money. I mean, 300K,
Zero left, zero savings, nothing to her name. Robbed Natalya. They've kept every penny.
Imagine that, Natalya having all this money and they give her nothing.
Natalya's money to buy themselves a house or trailer or whatever in Tennessee. I mean, she tells Neil she hates living with the Manses, and she trashes them all the time. Chat that Neil sent me. I said I wanted to go, and they said I was being mental. So that was their way of controlling her.
Risk.
See, the only thing that I'm trying to figure out here is, why is Cynthia so involved? Like, why does this matter to her so much? I mean, for me personally, I just don't trust anyone. Anyone from this show, point blank, period.
We don't take lightly all of the accusations against Natalya, from trying to kill her parents to trying to burn down the house to hurting her siblings. It's not like we could just sit there and ignore that.
Isn't it crazy though, how they know all these accusations about Natalya, but yet they're still hell-bent to want to actually save her?
If Natalya leaves, then we lose everything that Natalya comes with.
I mean, it's true, of course, if the Mans was to lose Natalya, they will lose obviously they'll definitely will lose out financially in a massive way, amongst maybe any other things as well. But nonetheless, so these are the things, that I picked up from the first episode that I wanted to share with you folks. I'll be back again, like I said before, with the next upcoming episodes. But with that being said, though, let me know your thoughts so far regarding the first episodes in particular. And I'll see you guys in the comment section of this video and the rest to come too. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out, please. And also like the video. And peace.